I actually greet my viewers with another liberal message of progressive politics of peace. And I believe that imperialist politics of imperialist war and bloodshed must stop, especially if war is unjust. I don't mind a just war for just causes, and we should be led, in order to liberate a nation from an aggressor or imperialist invader. But unjust war should be condemned as imperialist, and large power cannot actually occupy smaller countries just because they have bigger military and they have larger logistics or economic potential, or they have bigger prestige. I believe in territorial integrity, in national sovereignty of nations. And I believe that recent conflict between Russia and Georgia was long been wrought by Russian persecution of Georgians in Moscow, and also Russian economic blockade of Georgia, and total Russian public's hatred towards Caucasians. It's all provoked military conflict between Georgia and Russia, because Georgia actually in this conflict is an aggressor. Georgian President Saakashvili, who's a nationalist, ordered ultimate aggression against South Ossetia, and he ordered shell in Russian peacekeepers' positions in South Ossetia, which is actually act of unprovoked aggression. And I believe if Russia started attacking them back with tanks and artillery and planes, it's actually a fair response in order to defend their position in South Ossetia. President Saakashvili should have actually resorted to peaceful negotiations in order to make Russian peacekeepers withdraw peacefully, without any war, any shooting and stuff like that. But now it's atrocity being committed by both sides. Peaceful buildings being shelled in Gori, and South Ossetian buildings were shelled by Georgian artillery, which is a genocide politics. But actually, it's politics of nationalists, of Georgian nationalists, led by President Saakashvili, who's started playing scared rabbit, in the field when actually he is afraid of Russian air attack against his own person and assassination. Like actually Russian Vice Prime Minister Churkin was actually making allusions to possible assassinations of Georgian President Saakashvili, as he mentioned Georgian President Saakashvili is making a fatal mistake on CNN. On today, his conversation on Monday, August 11th, with CNN host, Russian Prime Minister Churkin mentioned that President Saakashvili had made a fatal mistake by attacking actually Russian positions in near Tkhin Valley. Tkhin Valley also a brand of famous Georgian wine, and I believe that if actually Russian public were not so nationalist and didn't persecute innocent Georgian immigrants in Moscow, such a war wouldn't have happened. But anti-Caucasian moods of Russian nationalists, their appeals to attack and kill Caucasians in Moscow, televised by Russian television, actually played a significant role in Georgian-Russian conflict, as Georgians were actually mad at Russians for their national anti-Caucasian moods, and decided to commit a military aggression against Russian troops in Ossetia as a vendetta, as a vengeance for anti-Caucasian moods of Russian public in Moscow city, where pogroms of Caucasians, took place in the year 2005, where Armenians and Georgians actually, Azeris kiosks, food kiosks and drink kiosks were actually set on fire by nationalist Russian public. Well, actually, I believe that if this war continues, of course, Russian military is capable of delivering significant blows against Georgian military, because Russia can provide way stronger and larger numbers of troops, planes, tanks, and infantry. But I also believe that President Saakashvili should seek direct involvement with Russian President Medvedev in order to stop the conflict and further bloodshed and civilians from dying. Excuse me. And Russian President Medvedev also should call Georgian President Saakashvili in order to find communication with him and to stop this military bloodshed, this imperialist warfare, which killed many innocent Russian and Georgian soldiers, killed innocent people, or innocent Georgian and Ossetian villages. And I believe that if they address me as a negotiator, I would negotiate it between those two presidents, Russian President Medvedev and Georgian President Saakashvili. I understand that Russian President Medvedev felt offended when 10 Russian peacekeepers were killed by the treacherous Georgian military aggression against their peacekeepers' barracks, and should be avenged, of course. So they should deliver blows, against Georgian military bases and punish Georgian for military aggression against Russia. I believe that should be done, and it would be fair just on part of Russia and unfair on part of Georgia. But if Russia occupied Georgia, actually it would be unfair on their part. We should limit their military response to destroying Georgian troops and their military bases. But actually, the very fact that President Bush sent 2,000 American instructors to train Georgian troops, it means that might be such American imperialists like George Bush stands behind the attacks against Russian peacekeepers in South Ossetia, as Georgia would have dared attack on their own, but American instructors actually trained them to attack probably Russia, and taught them hatred towards communists, towards Russians. Anti-Russian bias played quite a significant role in these military aggressions against Russian peacekeepers in South Ossetia. Also, I don't like the fact that reactionary Republican, it's imperious lackey, a former war criminal of Vietnam era, John McCain, actually called Russia American enemy. Like he thinks like a neo-Nazi. He's supported by a neo-Nazi white supremacist priest who considered, who justify Holocaust as God's deed, which is untrue. It's totally untrue. As he mistaken ill will of German nationalists with God's deeds, which God's deeds are only good, and then sometimes reactionary politics of people are what actually destroys so many faiths. And I also believe that American President Bush and American press like CNN should stop portraying Russia as their enemy. Russia used to be American ally during World War II against German Nazis. You should remember that. Russia never been a German, American enemy. Russia been always American ally during World War II. Americans should remember always that. And Russia is a major American partner where American sells lots of products, retail products, like cigarettes, computers, motion pictures in Russia, and American public strongly depends on Russian people for their economic plight. So I believe this negotiation between Georgian aggressors and Russian imperialists should continue, so that peace would reign again in South Ossetia, and Russian nationalists wouldn't have a chance in order to invade Caucasus again. Thank you so much for your attention.